Alright, hello. My name is Vince Valentine, and me, Tyler Wisniewski, Mac McDaniel, and Tanner Buck make up Group 16. Our topic was environmentalism and responsible stewardship. Environmentalism and responsible stewardship is care and concern for the environment. My subtopic was farming. Some problems in farming are that farmers are putting too much fertilizer on their plants. The plants only use some of that fertilizer, and the rest is washed into the rivers. The rivers then wash this into Lake Erie, creating harmful algae blooms that kill off some of the wildlife. Some solutions to this are new technology that could regulate fertilizer runoff. These machines include crop dusting airplanes, drones, and timed sprinklers that spray just the right amount of fertilizer at certain times. This could have a great effect on the environment for the better.
Hello, my name is Tyler Wisniewski, and my subtopic was the health of Lake Erie. Lake Erie is an important part of Toledo because this is where our tap water comes from and is vital to northern Ohio's economy and people. Farming practices and invasive species have been hurting Lake Erie since these problems started. First, alga is a group of small, simple organisms in water that don't produce seeds. The way alga is made is by eutrophication. Eutrophication is basically when nutrients are added into the water like fertilizer. Lake Erie is shallow and warm when compared to the other Great Lakes, which are ideal conditions for algae. In Lake Erie, this algae has seen the growth be accelerated by the washing away of fertilizer into the lake. When algae forms, it will consume most of the oxygen in that part of the body of water, making it lethal to fish and other organisms in that part. The fertilizer is originally used to be a supplement to plants. By using too much, it will be washed away by rain or some other way, or like watering it, making its way to Lake Erie when in northern Ohio. Invasive species are also hurting Lake Erie. Asian carp are any carp from Asia, and they got to Lake Erie accidentally. Asian carp have been hurting the ecosystem of Lake Erie and the surrounding areas because they compete for food with native species. Another invasive species is the zebra mussel. Zebra mussels are originally from Asia and were brought over by ships. The ship has a mechanism called a ballast, which it uses to help balance itself when loading and unloading products or goods. So it can draw in water and unintentionally get an animal, and it can stay there if it is stuck to the inside of the ship's ballast when the water is drained. The problem with zebra mussels are that they purify water, and this is a problem because they are over purifying the water so that there are no nutrients or small organisms in the water, which some animals eat, which can be detrimental to the circle of life.
Hi, my name is Tanner Buck, and my subtopic is pollution. Pollution is a word that means to make foul or unclean. Pollution is a serious problem mostly caused by humans. It causes climate change over a long period of time, and the environment suffers from pollution because we are the ones that cause it. When we pollute, it causes our animals and ecosystem to become very sick, and we endanger wildlife and even ourselves sometimes. There are many different types of pollution, but air and water pollution are the most common. Air pollution is a phenomenon in which particles and gases contaminate the environment. We pollute the air through harmful chemicals such as chlorofluorocarbons that slowly deteriorate our protector from the sun's harmful rays, the ozone. A study shows that roughly 136 million Americans live in counties with unhealthy levels of ozone. One of the biggest causes is vehicle emissions releasing unhealthy air for the ozone. Fossil fuels such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide are emitted into the atmosphere during combustion to produce energy. We also pollute our oceans with many plastics that hurt the marine ecosystem. Water pollution is the presence of compounds that decrease the quality of fresh or marine water. An example of freshwater pollution is Lake Erie in the 1960s when nitrogen and phosphorus were so large that it caused the depletion of oxygen enough to where fish were dying. These plastics get into our lakes and oceans, and our fish become sick from eating these. An example of water pollution is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is the largest marine plastic accumulation zone in the world. It is located halfway between Hawaii and California. 46% is made of nets and plastics ranging from large to small, small being the most dangerous. These plastics are broken down over a long period of time and make it easier for fish to eat them, so it's necessary to take action before this happens. 86% of samples contain toxic chemicals that are unnecessary for the marine environment. We can also become sick from eating these fish as a result of our own fault for letting these plastics in the water in the first place. Some solutions as responsible stewards are helping the environment by not littering on the ground or in the water, reducing the amount of toxics and emissions that affect the ozone, not smoking, recycling, picking up trash, or having the mindset that one piece of trash does matter. We should also be mindful and respectful of the life that lies beneath the surface, in the air, on land, and treat them the way you would want to be treated.
Hello, my name is Mac McDaniel. My subtopic is solar power. Solar power is energy that is transferred from sunlight into electricity. Here are some ways solar power helps the environment. Solar power reduces air pollution, reduces water pollution, and reduces a cost of an electric bill. Um, wait. So, when solar power is used, it wait. It can replace or reduce other energy sources from having a larger effect on the environment. Solar energy doesn't pollute water resources because solar photovoltaic cells don't rely on water to generate power. Here are some problems with solar power. Solar panels are pretty expensive. At minimum, they cost about $1,000. The sun doesn't shine all the time because it could be rainy, snowy, cloudy, and it's hard to install a solar panel depending on what type of house you're in because roofs could be different shape, and you couldn't have like a big or a small yard. Um, and then here are what solar panels look like, and they all contain photovoltaic cells. And then here are all our citations. And then we're now going to show our documentary. For our action project, we went to Sleepy Hollow Park and cleaned the park and put up flyers to promote no littering.
The weirdest items we found were alcohol containers, a lighter, a knife, a toilet seat with a seat cover, soggy french fries, and 2 diapers. In total, we found about 6 full bags of garbage.
We interviewed Mr. Jeff Blair, the president of the Plant Nutrient Group at the Andersons.
Of it is when we're trying to change this, we're talking about changing people's behavior. And farmers, one thing you learn about farmers is they're really independent people. They make, it's a big business, it comes with big risks, and they don't like the government telling them what to do. And so, you're trying to change behavior, trying to get a guy to clean his room, eat healthy, eat the carrot as opposed to the cake, right? And he may know at some level that's the right answer, but on another level it's really, really hard for them to do. And the analogy that they use is what they call the rider and an elephant. And what it is there's a difference between here and here. So we all think that to change behavior, I need to talk to your brain, right? And if I tell you what to do, so I put up all these statistics, and I put up all this science, and I put up all this stuff, and you go, oh, I got it all. Shake your head, you understood it, right, great. Right? That's the rider, the rational side of your brain. Now there's this other side of the brain, it's called the elephant. And it's the emotional side of your brain, right? And it's just like the elephant. So the rider sits on top of the elephant, and the rider thinks he's in charge, right? And he's going, everything's great. And when the elephant is happy and he's fed and there's no tiger running around scaring him, the elephant's going to let the rider be in charge of the elephant. But when the elephant gets scared, or the elephant gets pissed off, and you're mad, and your emotions take over, how much control does that guy have if that elephant gets mad?
Zero.
Exactly zero, right? So going back to your room, when you're mad, how well are your parents going to rationally tell you to clean your room? There's no amount of rational anything. You're pissed off, right? So how do we get farmers to change behavior? Understanding that this behavior of putting too much fertilizer on is complicated around emotions. They don't like somebody telling them what to do. They're scared of their business being in trouble because it's under pressure, right? As a lot of businesses are, right? And they don't like environmentalists, right? They just don't. If we drive by a Prius, they get a little bit cranky, right? So how do we help those people when the elephant is scared and angry to change its behavior? You can't just talk to the rational mind and say, hey, this is really good. You got to help them, right? And that's part of.
We interviewed Miss Karen Zacharias, who works for the Toledo Parks and Forestry Department.
So, how does the amount of litter at a given park affect the population that comes to that park?
Well, they get angry with us and call us lazy for not picking up their park, but it affects it. It just makes it look bad. When people see a park littered up, they think that they can just add to it. A lot of times, depending on certain litter, and I don't know if you guys saw any of our certain litter laying in the parking lot. Sometimes the litter will have people's blood or body fluids on it. That could potentially, create potential hepatitis C. And I know there's certain hours and certain time limits on them where, you can't get it, but HIV, people have littered stuff with bodily fluids on them. We also get syringes and needles in a lot of our parks that could contain a drug. So we like to keep them picked up, plus, like I said, people see it and they go, oh, let's clean our car out here too. Everybody else is doing it. And it just makes the park look bad to where people would go, I don't want to go there.
This taught me that it might be easier to pollute right there in the moment, but in the long run, it will have a negative effect on the environment.
I learned that there are people in this world who just don't care about our environment. We should take action before it becomes an even bigger problem.
I learned that the world is full of litter and it is a big problem. I am glad that we were able to help this cause and hope that we might have a long-term effect on the problem of littering.
I thought a big problem like pollution would have to be solved by a big solution, but really it was a simple solution. By cleaning a park, I want to help future generations to have a clean earth and inspire others to help with not polluting.
Any questions?
we stapled them to like different parts of the park with a staple gun, like seeing, like looking at different parts of the park and seeing like where would people go most and notice these flyers.
No, but we put like contact paper on them, which is like laminating them so that if it was raining, it wouldn't be ruined or yeah. We also have flyers.